Hello folks, this is activity W7P5. It is a problem that I actually gave on the midterm a week ago. And I had solved a problem like this where there was a single wheel without this frame that was rolling along a path. Okay. Even if the wheel looks like that, looks like an axle, exactly the same approach that I did in the class for this problem works. And there are many, many ways of doing these problems. The one that I proposed was one possibility. Now here, the only difference is that there is a frame there which is supposed to move with the wheel as it rolls along the path and stays horizontal, okay? Now, uh, and as I said, there are many ways of doing this problem. And here's the way I'm going to do that. Okay. Okay, first I'm going to make my base. Remember, dimensions are not important here. So insert a new part in there. And I'm going to rename this thing to be the ground. And ground. Okay. Let's go make it. So double click on that. On a convenient plane, on that horizontal plane, I will sketch a rectangle, exit, okay, and then pad this thing. So that's going to be the ground. All right. Now on that plane, I will sketch uh, something. For example, a sketch. So on that plane, I'm going to sketch, and I use the spline. Exit. So this is going to be the path that my vehicle is going to take. Now, later on, I'm going to come back and do something here, but just as I did in the activity that we had for a single wheel rolling, what I need is a plane that is tangent to that path, because when I do the roll curve joint, the face of the wheel has to be tangent to the curve. But let's worry about that thing later on. Okay, we'll come back when we need something to do. We go all the way to the top, and all the way to the top, and let's insert our wheel or axle. How about that? The wheel axle. So insert a new part. I say no, and I'm going to rename this thing to be, I'll call it axle. How about that? Properties. Okay. Axle wheel axle. Okay. There's an E here. And let's give the same name here. Axle wheel. All right. Let's go make it. Double click on that. Again, dimensions don't matter. So what I'm going to do is I will make on that vertical plane, I will sketch. I'll sketch a circle like that. This is going to be my wheel. Okay. And exit, pad it. That's fine. The axle on that face, I'm going to sketch. I'm going to sketch, let me look at this thing from the front so I can see it. Another circle. I could have done a multipath here, but I decided not to. So this control that, make them concentric. Okay. Exit. And then we pad it. Okay, so let's make it, maybe a little bit more. 50. Okay, so that's going to be the the axle. So now on that plane, I will sketch. Why don't I project that circle? Exit, and then path. I could have done this thing a lot easier. I'll be 20, the same as the wheel on the other side. Now, because I want to be able to see that these things actually roll, so for example, on that face, I will sketch a little circle and then I pocket it all the way to the end so that as it rolls, I can see that it's actually happening. So pocket all the way to the end. I'll say to last. There. Very good. Now, please note that the way I'm doing this thing is slightly different from when I had a single wheel. Now, the only thing is that because later on I want a revolute joint between this and the frame, what I might as well do find the middle plane of that, create a plane exactly halfway between these two, and there are different ways of doing it. So, for example, we do a plane and offset from a plane, offset from this plane in the other direction. Now remember, this was 20 and this was 50, so 20 plus 25 is 45, so I go 45, exactly is going to be in the middle. Right. Okay, very good, very good. We're pretty much done here. We go all the way to the top. Let's insert the frame. So insert a new part in there, and I'm going to call it the frame. Right click properties. Where is that? Properties. I'll call it frame. With the chassis if you want, frame and frame. We're going to make it. It's just a box with a hole in it. So let's make it. I might as well use these things. So for example, on this plane, I will sketch because I want to project that circle. So project, just being lazy here, project that circle there. And then I will do the rest of the frame over here. So why don't I do a rectangle? My frame is going to look like that. Okay. Now you can do all kind of cleanup here. You can make it symmetric, etc. However, what I'm going to do is just so that I have an idea how big this thing is, I'll put a dimension there. It says 47. I'll make it 50. How about that? 50. Good. This is 50. And all right. Okay, this is 50. So exit. It's really that was really unnecessary, but I did it anyways. So this is going to be the frame. So why don't I make this thing maybe 50 also? That first 50 was totally unnecessary. What I do need though is a plane between these two, exactly halfway between these two. So that's easy to do. So we make a plane here, offset from that in the other direction by 25. Remember I padded it by 50? So 25, we put it exactly in the middle. 25. Are we good? Yeah. So let's go all the way to the top. All the way to the top. Why don't we now remember, well, first of all, let's anchor the ground. That's fine. Now remember, we want this plane, this wheel, the edge of this wheel to be tangent to that. And I did show you how to do that when I was doing a single wheel. So what I did, I went to the base. I went to the base. First of all, I created a plane normal to this. See that? Normal to that. So we are in the base. So we make a plane. And the way we're going to do that, we are going to uh, we are going to second my batteries. Okay. So for the curve, I will. Oh, sorry, not hang in there. What am I doing here? Oh yeah. So the method is going to be normal to a curve. Where is that? Normal to a curve. This curve, and the point is right there. So we created something here, but this is not the plane that I want. I want a plane that's 90 degrees to that. So I'd go back. This is exactly what I did with single wheel. So the method is going to be creating a plane using angle and normal to a plane. You click on that, okay? The axis of rotation is, well, we're going to create one. Axis of rotation, create a line going from this point in the vertical direction. So we now have axis of rotation. Say okay. So the axis of rotation is this line, and the thing that you want to make it perpendicular to is this plane and 90 degrees. So this is going to be tangent. This plane that I created is going to be tangent to that uh, curve. Okay. So what I'm going to do is the following. Let me move these things apart. Let me move these things apart. Uh, where is this? Manipulate. I want to move these apart. I cannot find my favorite. Oh, there it is. Manipulate. Okay. So let me move these apart. I'm going to maybe translate this thing in X so that it gets separated from that. And this thing is over there. Okay. Very good. Now, first, we want to bring this thing down and put it on that surface. So if it's bothering you, what I'm going to do is I will move this thing in the Y direction. Okay, we bring it down. Okay, so we do a contact between this plane and that plane, except that we don't want it to be internal, we want it to be external, right? All right, and then I want to make this plane coincident with that plane because I want this thing to be tangent to the path. So another coincidence between this plane and that plane. Okay. All right. But I do want it to bring it to one way to do that is go to the wheel, right there. Make a point on that edge, anywhere on that edge. It really doesn't matter. So I'm going to make a point on a curve. Doesn't matter what. Select that curve. That blue one is going to be the point that's going to be created. Now go all the way to the top and then make this point coincident with that. So let's try it. Coincidence between this point and that point, and there we go. So what we have here is that the wheel is on the ground. The wheel is tangent to that path, and the wheel is starting at that point. Okay, good. Now we're going to place. Now we're going to place this frame on that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. So we have a coincidence between the middle plane of this frame and the middle plane of that axle. Update, it's right there. And then coincidence between the axis of this axle and that axis right there. Okay. Now, uh, for a reason that may not be obvious to you, I'm going to make a plane right, right on there. Okay, right. I'm going to make a plane. You'll see why. Let me go to the product. Let me go to the product. Go to the ground. Go to the ground. Make a plane which is that height basically. Here's a plane. There are different ways of doing it. For example, you can say, I don't know, through parallel through a point, through point. So through this point, parallel well, actually, let me do it differently. Cancel that. Let me do it differently. Cancel. Try it again. We can do a, a plane through, for example, three, well, 3 points. 3 points. Point number one, point number 2, point number 3. Okay, very good. So we have created a plane right there, which belongs to the ground, and it's basically coinciding with that top face. You'll see that. This is why this is later on to use it to make sure that it will not it stays horizontal. So we are pretty much done. So let's go ahead and go to DMU kinematics. We go to digital markup, DMU kinematics. Let's now I can actually go ahead and create all these joints manually, okay, or automatically. I'll do that manually for you, okay? So let me go ahead and just create a mechanism. New mechanism, mechanism number 1, okay? And we fix the ground. Okay, so we have created the mechanism, but there are no joints here. So let's go ahead and there's a fixed part, that's the ground. So let's do our first roll curve joint. So we go do the roll curve joint. Where is this? Roll curve joint right there. See this? Roll curve joint. There is one curve. The perimeter of that circle is the other curve. Let's not worry about length driven right now. We will come back and do that later. Very good. Now I want to make a planar joint between that top plane and the top of this box. This plane that I created and the top of this box, they are at the same height. Therefore, in order to make it horizontal, they should stay. You have a joint. There are many ways of doing it, but this is one way that I'm going to do. So where is this thing? Let's go here, and planar joint is right there. We selected between the top of this and this plane, and then we say okay. All right, good. Then we're going to do a revolute joint. So coincidence, revolute joint. Let's do this thing carefully. Between the axis of this wheel, for example. Let me hide that. The axis of this. And let's go back, get our thingy. And for example, this plane. Oh, the middle plane, Remember the middle plane? Let me bring this thing to the front so that we can see what's going on. Remember I created the middle plane, a middle plane of the axle, which is right there. You can see that. And the middle plane of the box, which is right there. And then we say, okay. Degree of freedom is 1. Guess what? That angle-driven command now becomes, for example, a roll. We can make it length-driven, or we can make this thing angle-driven. I'll make this thing length-driven. Length-driven. Okay, very good. So let's go ahead and do that. As I drag this thing, this will roll, the wheel will roll, or the wheel axle will roll on that curve, and the frame remains horizontal. You can see that. Yeah? Of course, you can change the length here to maybe 500. We can do the rest of this. Okay? So look, there's so many different ways of doing this problem. Here's what I did. I made a roll curve between the edge of the axle and this path. Of course, I did a revolute between the frame and the axle. And to make sure that this thing does not turn around and flip, basically, I made a planar joint between the top of this frame and that plane that stays put at the same height that we had. All right, go. All right, folks, take care.